Short Rest with Fonzi and Carlo.
Plin, plin, plon. Plin, plin. Ah, fuck. It's already recording. Hey, Fonzie. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend.
Yeah,
How are
I'm
you?
also having my coffee.
Yeah, good. Great. So I'm having
Slurp
my
that coffee.
sometimes
Yeah.
coffee is good.
Yeah. And then it's weird because it's I woke up really weird kanina. Parang I didn't necessarily feel tired or when I woke up, but when I tried to remember what I did yesterday, parang wala naman we just played. I guess I just streamed kasi throughout most of the day yesterday, and then we had another D&D live stream courtesy of DM Nico. So yeah, I think
Yeah, shout out
that's
to
why I
Nico.
played. Yeah,
Well
it was a
done.
really great game. We
Yeah.
drew the enemies out.
Yeah, that was interesting. Like I was expecting to fight the dragon, truth be told.
For reals? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are tier 2. I think we could. Anyway.
Yeah, and I have like mods that have like feature at least like a young dragon and stuff and spellcasters. So that was reminiscent of that, I think. If you remember that one module that I ran, yung parang nasa Ladies scale.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
Yep. Yeah. Excited
also, Yeah, that was also tier 2. And speaking of tier 2 and speaking of our game last night, a lot of our players have their very first tier 3 characters, which is sweet.
Yeah. Congratulations to TITOS, Jean, and Ekul for graduating to tier 3. Have fun with those spells and those really good abilities that characters get at that tier level.
Yeah, and I'm excited to run games on tier 3 with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel the wrath of and the difference of tier 3.
Yeah, that's where parang
like we're playing D&D now.
Yeah, that's where the training wheels come off. Like in tier 1, syempre there's a lot of handholding, especially if bago yung players. In tier 2, like okay, this is sparring session. You still have your helmet and your really fluffy boxing gloves on. And then when tier 3 comes, no more boxing helmet, no more fluffy gloves. This is no holds barred. You guys know this shit.
Yeah, true. And Jean and the rest of the players that we're playing with are relatively new. So like I think they've been playing for a year or less. So yeah, so tier 3 is a different beast, different thing because this is different. As a DM, you prep differently. As you said, like the training wheels come off. You don't think of your players
as children
safety
anymore.
Yeah, parang you are purposely as a DM like you want them to overcome the challenges that you
and you want to give them worthy challenges that'll make them feel epic. By just lang your audio's a little bit low at. I'm not sure how why.
Who is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's my headset. Yeah,
it's
fine. Yeah. You mentioned. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I said that. The tier 3s are just about the DMs no longer having to hold back as much.
Yeah.
And the tier 4 is a lot of the same.
So, yeah, man.
exciting stuff. Yeah, talking about our session last night, and how was your week this week?
Time to roll hit dice. We have that segment. Why is it for some reason we forgot these segments? It's probably been a long day yesterday. Week's been rough so far in terms of work things. I can't say exactly why, but things have been relatively rough. Not toxic rough, or more just rough in general. But it's going ano naman. That's just really all about that. All that I have to say regarding work. With regards naman to personal life, I'm really glad we got our first short ride out. So that's our first episode for I don't know if we're going to come up with more episodes, but let's make a mental note that we'll probably pre-record those rather than have it live. Yeah. Um and then ayun, I've been doing a lot of streaming with my little brother with regards sa Rainbow Six and some friends, and yeah, I
Yeah.
have a lot of explaining to do with the YouTube channel and the Facebook page because yun nga, parang where are the story-based content? Asks my imaginary audience in my head, and I'll be like, yeah, hold on, I'll come up with it soon. Pero yeah, for now I'm just enjoying the time I spend with my little brother, talking to him through R6. Right? Usually conversations with him na seryoso it's hard to come by kapag personal. Pero these just randomly come out in game. And syempre those they aren't streamed. I give my brother a heads up na, okay kuya, nagano tayo I'm the older brother, but I call him kuya para ano I parang I ask him we'll stream keep the insults to a minimum, swear as much as you can, but alam mo yun, don't be offensive.
Don't be toxic. Don't be like
Toxic. Pero yeah, yun. That's basically how my week went. How about you, man? How's the fam? How are you?
that. Well, things have been great. Family-wise, we just got a new bike, which is insane and fun.
I saw the post.
It's a really cute folding bike / city bike, which is really, really fun to ride. Also, work has been work. Interesting to delve into kind of like get out in company culture and stuff like that. I'm working for a relatively new coaching company, which is about 2 years old, more or less, give or take, and they're still figuring out who we are as a company. They're still finding out and discovering new challenges and uncovering new things about
I see.
things. So it's a interesting experience to say the least. Be coming from a very diverse set of work experience in terms of big corporate, small business, and stuff like that. And just like to point out that regardless of where you are in this world, there are shared experiences and shared challenges that are common to all businesses, regardless of where your point of origin may be. So it's a lot of like
I'm guessing
and like and stuff like that. So like employers kind of like a disgruntlement and stuff like that. If that's the word. But I feel like it's always a work in progress, and as long as leaders are open to feedback from their employees and also vice versa, then everything will be okay. So it's just a reminder for me that just as it's not based in the Philippines, it's based in the US. That just because they're moved from the US, you kind of like expect that they have their shit together. They don't.
Yeah.
And that isn't necessarily true. That perception of a global corporation having all these cogs in place and stuff like that, it's not necessarily true. We're all human at the end of the day. That's interesting. That's an interesting insight for me this week.
Yeah. Talking about things that are consistent in terms of experiences the things of business. So there's politics, and then there's taxation. So yeah,
Well,
some things.
apparently not for overseas employees
Oh,
as well.
ganon?
We have to file our own taxes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
That's
So
true.
yeah. Speaking of taxes, what is our topic for?
We feel we're growing older by the day. We're talking about taxes and stuff.
I understand nothing about tax. I
Yeah.
had my most trouble in college with the taxation subjects. Because
Mm.
number one, it's boring. Number two, it's boring. Number three, I
It's
can pay an accountant to do my taxes for me.
yeah, man. Anyway, speaking of taxation, I'll just go with that segue. Why not? You know what? Some might sometimes be taxing for the
Ooh,
dungeon master.
very good. 10 out of 10. What, Carlo?
It's getting your players really immersed and
Yeah.
really into the story, right?
Mhm.
So in today's episode of Short Rest, we're going to talk about the various ways to keep our players immersed and to really expand or really I think enhance their experience of the Dungeons and Dragons game. Outside, of course, of making them how should I say this? Making sure that they close all their other browsers and listen to us and us alone. Of course, I'll probably make them do that para mas ano sila, right? Because yeah, siguro to preface this particular discussion, I think one problem that I'm sure a lot of dungeon masters, regardless of tenure or alam mo yun, experience acquired from DMing, 'di ba? Parang I'm sure they've experienced players who are really just detached from the game. And that's the issue here. Parang some players don't listen. We we have both encountered players na ganun. Or sometimes parang sa una pa lang was very engaged siya, very excited siya, and then parang the interest is waning off. That's not avoid that not it's not that that's not avoidable, but sometimes that happens, and sometimes alam mo yun, parang it's contagious. It affects the others in the table who may or may not know. And sometimes it's the dungeon master's fault. Sometimes it's the player's fault. Pero alam mo yun, parang I think we need to know there are certain ways in order to avoid that, right? So that's what we're going to discuss now. And there are a lot of ways with which you can keep their attention and make sure that they get that get them really interested in the story, get them hooked, and have them really step out of the real world for a bit and then delve into this new world, which, by the way, also has problems.
Yeah, and that is a very interesting topic to talk about as dungeon masters. We also, well, I'm assuming that most dungeon masters also have an experience of being a player, what it feels like to be in a world created by another person, to be immersed in that world, and to be really captivated by it and to be committed to it. So I'm thinking like as a player, Carlo, I think like wearing a player hat. What do you feel like are the elements of a D&D game that gets you um, hooked? You know, like what's your elements that would make you feel like it's this is
Yeah.
for me?
I how should I say this? There are mostly parang if I'm going to summarize all of that, and basing it off then of the basing it out of the my experience then as a player. What would get me hooked would be number one, yung story. Like siyempre, I have my own character background. I really invest a lot in it, so I'd like it to follow this other story or this other adventure Parang how would he feel about it? Like story is an important element that I'd like my player characters to to really delve in or to really mix with, alam mo yun, para ayun, parang oh, my character is going to experience this adventure. What would he get out of it, etc. Other than magical items and stuff, right? So story, that's definitely something that's an element na parang affects yung experience ko. Secondly, the it's the people in the room with me, not just the dungeon master, but the people around me. Are they genuinely interested? Is another person playing another game while the other in Zoom or in Roll20, is the other person playing another table while this player is going on. And I'm like, dude, naka distract, like is the mic on auto ano tawag mo doon, auto talk, like when there's a sound and someone is there are some background noises that's going on. So yeah, definitely that's going to affect rin my experience of the game. So parang just really having them talk to each other, just really having that kind of core group who can really focus and alam mo yun, be in the moment, kumbaga.
Yeah, I like that.
And then then thirdly, yung syempre, props. It's not the props eh. I don't know how to say it, pero like when you have miniatures or when you show something, like I understand sometimes this can be theater of the mind. So the DM will describe something to you, and when he describes it well, you have an idea of it in the mind. It'll help if there's a visual aid, pero alam mo yun, parang that's what I call the props. Parang, okay, what do I see? So parang I guess it could be attributed to DM skill. I'm not sure exactly how to that. Pero yung props, just how he describes it, or if there's a visual aid, great. Right? Kasama na doon, syempre, for combat encounters would be yung mga miniatures, yung maps, etc. Pero that's really small. I guess before I go to that, I would place the song or the music that's playing in the background. Because that really gets me going. Like, for some reason, whenever there's music in a D&D game, that shit slaps, man. Like, immediately I'm in. And and even in my real life, I guess, like whenever I go running, whenever I do ride out, no, not ride outs, whenever I do station yung spinning sa bike ko, para I always need to have music playing in the background. But why? Because number one, it gets me hyped. And number two, it gets me immersed. It gets me in the moment for some reason, di ba? Which is weird. But my music na nag-play, di ba? Parang should be hearing the sound of your own breath. I don't know. Fuck off. I want my music. So parang that's one thing that affects yung more than yung props and stuff. So yeah, those are the 4 elements that I have. How about you, Fonzi?
Great. Like, talking about everything that you talked about is absolutely great. One is just the story, and really just the competence and preparation of the dungeon master just to be able to create a world for you, which is great, right? And there are sessions that are more spontaneous and stuff like that, but I feel like it's just more of the fluidity of the game and how this dungeon master is just able to take you from scene to scene without much interference in terms of like mental blockages and stuff like that, and having to go back to the notes and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, for dungeon masters, it is a very tough thing to do, to be able to create an immersive experience for your players. But I feel like a lot of I'm more immersed. Also, it helps for me in my immersion if I see the dungeon master is immersed himself.
Yeah.
It's kind of like gives me it's fun to play with someone like that, and to give off that kind of relationship and the kind of like vibe with the dungeon master primarily. Gives me more comfort in terms of like exploration or creativity. So kind of like gives me a kind of a permission to play. Gives you permission to play. So if the dungeon master is kind of like a rule um, stickler and stuff like that, and it's tough to be in the free environment to be in that kind of space. But if the dungeon master is having fun with the players as well,
Rule of cool.
Rule of cool, but also making sure that the integrity of the game is still intact.
Still there.
So it's great. It's great to be there.
Right.
No, so I just realized something.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. Even better now. I didn't know because if it's a setting in the mic, ayan.
Oh boy, that was dumb. So
I don't want to take this up to the top, pero I think you have.
So I was using the webcam microphone apparently. So
no wonder. Okay, there we go.
So this is
now I want to check my settings.
So sorry about that, but yeah, just talking about just the Dungeon Master's immersion himself, like how is he able to bring this story to life, and it just really comes down to preparation and things like that, and bringing elements into the game. And I feel like that's where everything else falls into place, right? And yeah, the people you're playing with is also very important. I remember the epic we had, Reese's Riches epic, which was in Manila. You were supposed to be there, but something came up. But I was with a few friends also, like si Erickson and si JT was there.
We all met on the internet when you think
we met on the internet. Yeah, and we were joined with another set of players in that table, and we had a DM also that was actually the DM for yung players na yun yung regular players niya, yung the people who were with the group.
Okay. So kayo yung parang
kami yung parang joiners, yeah. So two tables, for one table kami per two, alam mo yun, two playing tables. And parang at the end of the day, parang mas engaged yung DM sa amin. And particularly because we were engaged with the story more rather than the players na kasama niya usually. Parang napansin namin na parang bakit parang disconnected sila. Parang I think they were more engrossed in the idea that they were together in one place and playing an epic and doing damage. Kami, we were more task-oriented. Tapos we were really focused into, especially combat, kasi we were decked out to the teeth. So I was bringing my top ranger ala Aragorn na emo.
Swunk.
dealing over 100 damage per round. Tapos si JT pa na sobrang optimized yung character niya. So we were really strong, and I believe kami mga top table din nata kami noon. I don't think parang top performing or something like that. So yeah, that was fun. And more on kasi locked in kami sa DM. Ako nakatingin talaga ako sa DM usually because it helps me enjoy the game.
Were the other players not looking at it?
Hindi naman, pero parang alam mo yun, parang meron silang own thing, meron silang so nandun sila sa left side ng table, kami na sa right side. So nakita mo talaga yung DM na parang nakalean na siya towards sa side left namin. Tapos bala na to sila. Pero kung combat nandiyan na sila, parang okay, combat. Pero kung ma-RP wise, ma-RP quest, ganun, kami yung
Man, talagang it's sometimes large na talaga yung people no.
Yeah, definitely man, like
sabagay.
Yeah, kung may isang disconnected as a DM din kasi parang nakaka-frustrate kasi naka-prep ka, you do all these things just to be able to bring this to life, tapos it's not being respected by the player.
I think that's the proper way to express it. Like you don't respect the preparation that they do, di ba? Parang for me that's heartbreaking. It's so frustrating. Well, I prepared you this story here and then okay, they guess not.
Yeah. if I'm talking about like if Nico is listening, is not to criticize you or anything. No? Pero my like for example, just pointing out no, na parang yung prep ni Nico for the game was great in terms of like maps and everything. Ginawa niya lahat. Nag-edit siya ng map. Tapos he spent time on a particular map. Pinost niya to sa Facebook niya. Sabi niya, I spent all this time prepping for a map that the players did not use. So parang a lot of DMs din kasi fall into the trap of preparing for certain things na yun yung expectations nila and not really preparing for the players.
Yeah.
So what does preparing for the players mean? No, parang it means you're preparing for for anything really na ano yung ma-bring to life ng players. And what kind of players are we talking about here? Like what kind of players? Do you know your players well? Alam mo yun?
Yeah.
And for Adventures League modules kasi like that, like you are very much empowered to railroad a little bit to make sure that the preparation you have created for the map is followed kasi you're the DM eh. So like dun parang yung encounter namin happened at the entrance, which could have been parang drawn inside. Like for example, pwede sana yung orc chief na lumabas to negotiate, no? Pwede sana, pasok muna kayo, sa loob na tayo mag-usap. Parang ganun. Pwede sana ganun, right? So, kung ganun, kung you also need to be able to railroad your characters or nudge them towards the direction that you want them to go. So, so ganun lang din. Like which is something also that parang as a DM, parang getting to know your players and getting to know also yourself. Parang okay, nag-prepare ako nito. So, how do I enhance my game if I don't get to use the tools that I prepared for?
Yeah.
Pero okay lang din naman. Like, it was still fun. Very much fun. So, it wouldn't be accurate for me to say na parang, siguro kung pumasok kami dun sa, mas enjoy siguro. Pero alam mo yun. But your preparation should have, at the end of the day, parang our preparation as DM should be prepared for, alam mo yun, parang anything that could happen ba. So at the end of the day, at the end of your session, you don't get to say na parang parang sayang yung prep ko. That is the worst feeling in the world. Na parang I'm preparing for this your infiltration for our next Barrio Alonso.
It's a straight up siege, baby.
Yeah, and it takes time for me to do that kasi medyo malaki din kasi talaga. I'm essentially writing 2 modules kumbaga, parang ganun. So it's kind of like that kind of preparation. But parang more or less the outline is there. The outline was finished from from the first day of prep. But in terms of like making sure that everything is polished, na every possibility is looked at, and also making sure that each encounter or possibility for encounters is rich and is purposeful in terms of moving forward the story. One thing also that I miss in games that you mentioned is music. Parang nakakamiss na rin. Nakakamiss yung music. But we found out something on Spotify that may enhance your experience. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And also, and what I really miss about IRL games is just your ability to control elements in your game. That makes it more immersive. Like you read or watch YouTube videos on how to enhance your experience by providing background music, bringing your Bluetooth device and stuff like that, finding a quiet space, and even medyo din ako like for example the layout of the table. Medyo din ako niyan, medyo particular, lalo na yung I used to run in our function room sa Good Food. So, yun private talaga yun. So parang may sliding door dun sa MTS, may sliding door, we used to close that. Tapos yung tables was set in kind of like this critical role na nandyan sila lahat sa big table and stuff like that. And I was in the middle and stuff. Tapos may DM screen ako, which was fun. kasi I was hiding roles, tapos meron akong dice tower and stuff like that. It added to the experience of,
Yeah. I think
and
that's
mystery of the game.
that's the experience talaga. Like, I've never had that eh. I've always been online. The closest I had that was when I was there in Davao mismo, and then good food then. Which, by the way, is really good food, and really miss the food there.
So those are really important things that would enhance your experience. And we have tried so many things din sa online, Carl, just to make sure na like that our experience playing online is as good, if not
Better
if
question
not
mark.
better than the over like IRL games. But yeah, we can only do so much. I mentioned something about the Spotify thing that we uncovered this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you want to talk about that?
No. I just found out about it kanina. So you go ahead.
Yeah, Spotify has this great integration where you can invite people to do a listening session.
Yeah.
On Spotify, which works, I think which I think was released on July this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you essentially, their pitch is you can listen together from anywhere with group session. So it's still in beta or beta mode. So a lot of our experiences, especially since we use Zoom, we can't really use music on Zoom because it compromises a lot of the voice that we use. So I was looking for ways then also that you can stream music to your player. So actually I was looking at that without it being too invasive in terms of like the platform, or lalo naka-zoom ka na tapos meron ka pang other thing, so mag-agawan sila ng internet and stuff like that. So I looked at the Spotify group session na parang so pwede siguro to sa D&D, no? So I was looking at that, so I tried it out with you. Tapos I was changing certain music and stuff like that. Tapos medyo mabilis naman. So, yeah.
Real time siya, actually.
So that might be a very great like integration for your games to be able to do that. It's called the Spotify group session. We'll be trying that out very soon. Hopefully next week or hopefully later.
We'll definitely try it later. Sure, why not?
Yeah, tapos we'll let you know na lang guys how it goes, no. But yeah, it's fun. It's a lot better than Groovy, I would assume, kasi like the number one, well, the streaming of Spotify is way superior than Discord in terms of like music, no. In terms of like music, and you can always like control your experience. Like ako, like in Roll20 starting out, I didn't really enjoy yung background music ng Roll20.
Yeah, they have a couple na nandun na no, na preloaded, but it's not as good as what we had in a way.
Yeah. Tapos iba din talaga yung experience ng tamang music at the right time.
There's that music that slaps on the right.
So I remember one game actually, tier 2 ba yun or tier 3? I don't remember, but it was combat. Tapos yung ginawa ng DM, pag roll initiative, linapag niya yung Bluetooth speaker niya sa gitna ng pang! Tapos nag-start na play na siya ng music. Ako, kinabahan ako parang, oh my God, what do I do? Kinakabahan ako. I was at yung beats per minute ko. Stress ako. It adds to the experience ba na parang, oh shit.
So parang Bluetooth speakers are this generation's version of the boombox. Boom! Then...
So
let's go, boys.
So as we're preparing for IRL games, Bluetooth speakers are absolutely great devices, especially those that you can bring around with you. I personally have a Bluetooth speaker, 2 of them actually, but I use the square one, yung I forgot the brand, pero I bought it off the Apple Store. It's a good brand. It lasts for like mga 8 hours, I think, which is great. Tapos it's easy na mapatong ko siya sa aking dice tower. So it's fun kasi parang nandun lang siya, parang speakers. Tapos I just use my phone, no? Which is precisely why my top music for Spotify are Dungeon Master music. Like OST ng The Witcher, stuff like that. Yeah. So for background music, like there are a lot. You don't have to create your own, no, if you are, but there are a lot of like music sources that you can get from. But Spotify is also a very good one because at least the artists on Spotify earn money as you are using that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's good. And and it's good not to pirate music.
Yar, pirates aren't good. That's theft. Yeah. I guess the only downside to it is I think only 5 people can share the music.
Yeah, for now. But hopefully as they integrate it more and they see that more and more people are using it, not only for listening sessions, but also for practical uses. Like for example, you have a company, you want to introduce like a group session for your entire company, so that more or less you share the same music or you're listening to the same podcast at different.
I think that's a good initiative for to have. That shouldn't be limited to just 5 people. I'm sure they'll extend that pa.
There are a lot of practical uses for that, I feel like. And we as people, we as users, we also, it's time to innovate, and use the tools that we have to be able to make experiences a little bit more.
Yeah, diba? Yeah, but its most important use, dungeon mastery. So
yes.
that's a must. Ayun. So that's music down. We have there, of course, a lot of tools that can help you that can help you facilitate that. There's also Groovy. And then there, of course, if you're not streaming or recording anything, you can just use yung share sound option ni Zoom. In order to have since IRL games aren't viable or healthy yet considering the pandemic, no? So there are a lot of tools to help facilitate music because it's such a vital thing when it comes to immersing your players. Right? So what were the other elements pala?
You were talking about props.
Yeah, we did delve a little bit on this pagdating sa in one of our episodes, right? So what tools that we can use in order to facilitate a better Dungeon Master experience. So there's Roll20 for combat and maps. There's Jamboard, which I'm using later today. I don't want to go Roll20 today because you motherfuckers see the screen. And you guys don't tell me about it. But
second monitor is love.
Yeah, man, I don't have one. I'm a pleb. Anyway, I'm gonna get one para I can that.
I'm surprised you don't have one since you stream.
Man. Ayun nga eh. I'm only new to the streaming game, so I should definitely have a second one. Anyway, ayun, parang there's Jamboard in order to show something. So I think we've also shown it na parang series of slides siya, tapos you can show anything there. This is what the Eye of Orcus or the Wand of Orcus looks like, for instance, and this is what the artifact looks like. Diba? This is what the person that you're looking for looks like. Diba? So add that plus magaling pa mag-describe yung Dungeon Master, parang it'll snap. Okay, I know this is the guy we're looking for. We need to take him out right now. We need to ganito, ganyan. Need to talk to him, collaborate. So parang these tools coupled with a very skilled dungeon master describing it would really immerse the players. Alam mo yun? Parang and this is something that I experienced na on a I don't want to say back then and this is something that I experienced a lot a few years ago when I started DMing. Parang Dungeon Master reads something off of the mod. He doesn't outright tell us what we need to do. And sometimes I doubt myself, am I just not listening enough? So parang, okay, baka the other players already know this mod and they know what to do and I don't. I mean, syempre, as someone coming off from someone who's just new into into D&D, right? So parang, I don't know, parang I've always had to clarify. I'm just always the player to always clarify. Okay, so what's our objective again? Why are we together in a tavern? We need to investigate. We need to assassinate or we need to find out. Ganon. So parang, I always clarify that. And I feel like through maybe through skillful DMing din, and thankfully, I don't experience that these days rin. Kasi, I don't know, I probably learned how to pay attention. Or maybe because the DM is skilled enough to actually do that without actually telling me na parang, this is your objective. Parang, just being able, skilled DMs will be able to tell you what you need to do while still being able to role play that. Right? And I'm not saying that in the past I don't have I don't know any DMs who aren't able to do that. EJ is really able to do that very well, right? Ayun. So parang that's one thing na having a really good DM just describe things for you. In sa props and sa combat encounters.
Yeah.
Ayun, that's my opinion. How about you, Fonzi? What makes a good for you, prop for you?
For me, there are so many things that you can introduce to your D&D game that will enhance the experience. Like as players, there are dice trays, there are dice towers that also add to the experience of the table, because bringing that with you adds to the kind of like ito siya medyo astig yung gamit niya, so nakaka-excite mo na parang ginagamit mo yung gamit mo. So it's good to have players who are prepared for your game, and as a dungeon master, parang you honor that, right? Parang he really brought out his stuff. He's not just rolling on his app. Parang parang okay, parang which is fine. As a DM, you can still very much have a very awesome game with that, but it's good to have those elements. If not for paraphernalia lang, it just adds to the experience. The sound of dice coming down your dice tower is awesome, especially if your DM owns one. Tapos he's rolling.
Kakakaba kaya. Why is he rolling?
Okay, this is to see if I am going to hit your downed ally. Parang ganun nga. So parang you roll in front of the table. I own these huge ass dice. Parang yung decision dice ko. Tapos I roll in front of which I used to roll in front of the players when I
for full transparency.
Yeah, for stuff like that, parang kinakansawan la DM, nagdo-double tap ka pala. So I just roll in front of them when I double tap. So parang so which works. Yeah, aside from that, minis are great. I know not all people, own minis. They use their dice. They like to use their dice more. But I love minis in terms of like adding more personality into the battle map. You can have your own mini designed for you, if not on Hero Forge, but also look for local 3D printing or hobby shops. Usually, they will accommodate your orders, lalo na kung ganun. I would love to be able to run a hardcover na may kompleto ako na maps and minis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Be able to do that. So I've been already looking at possible, orders. Kailangan ko ng minis kung if I run like Strad IRL or if I run like Descent into Avernus IRL. What sort of minis should I own? So parang yun, yung mga basic demonic minis, which I doubt my mom will take. Parang, why do you have demons in your closet, my son? I'm disappointed.
And you started playing D&D? I did not raise a Satanist.
So, yun. So, definitely that. No? And aside from that, there are also ways and means that you can enhance your dungeon mastering experience in terms of like tokens. What my other DMs have been using like peso coins and like writing numbers on them so that people can keep track. Other people have been printing them out and into like printable tokens and stuff like that you can do actually in your own thing. You can draw, you can paint your own stuff just to make the experience a little bit more magical.
Just to immerse them in there. So, I can remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what did you remember?
I can remember one particular I'm not sure if si JT yun or someone else, pero what he did was he printed these tokens, right? And then parang he put a stand on these tokens para they can they're seen throughout the map when in combat encounters, and I thought that was pretty creative and great. Like you don't necessarily, it'd be great to have a 3D printer to create those miniatures, but you don't need one.
So I think those are token stands what you're talking about. There are acrylic ones that you can buy off Lazada or Shopee. There are existing ones that you can just insert your tokens into. Those are great. And also there are token stands that parang hold up like parang circular tokens or peso coins that you can just print on certain things. So there are a lot of ways for you to do that. Of course, it's a little bit of a challenge to be able to come up with or even bring them around. So meron akong isang DM that he would bring this huge box with him, like a toolbox of some sort. Whenever he runs games, he likes to use tokens like that, and modular like dungeons for his. He prints out these maps that he just puts it on the board. I like to use battle maps, and I just draw on the battle map for the people to, or for the players to see. Okay, what are the dimensions of the room? What's going on here? So that it's sort of like it does the trick. Now for me, it's easier to manage because kasi medyo mahirap nga to move around with those large like modular maps and 3D printed maps and stuff like that. It's impractical. And for quick games like 2-hour mods and 4-hour mods, that you used to, alam mo yun, parang you move around a lot kasi we don't lalo na in AL Davao, we use like coffee shops and establishments to be able to run games in. So we don't want to hassle the restaurant too much by bringing in modular. So tapos yung table namin minsan maliit lang, so it just fits siguro like a foot by foot na battle map. So that's good. But essentially it's just a way and parang it's just a way for the players around the table to interact with something universally, as players. So parang may battle map kayo, so you interact with something there and you put your focus there, so that helps a lot in terms of like immersion for combat.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, not to say that Theater of the Mind isn't great, because it is. It just depends like on like personal preference maybe for the DM. Like I like to see things happening on the board because it's like Theater of the Mind, as I'm coming to, is easier to manage pala, but it's in terms of like can I move there? I hit the closest one. Those languages don't really apply to to Theater of the Mind.
Visual.
Kasi parang sa akin as a DM, I would always assume, lalo sa Theater of the Mind, that you're hitting the damaged opponent. Parang the rule of layers and like positioning kind of like goes out the window because you're kind of like making sure that the battle is optimized. So you also want fast battles, lalo na kung Theater of the Mind, kasi nakakaloko din.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I was about to ask you, Fonzi, RA Immersion. Have you ever played in a venue na, I guess I think I know the answer to this, but have you ever played in a venue that's public but it's not owned by you, so parang pero a lot of people go there, and for other so in a nutshell, I'm asking if you've ever played in a Starbucks before.
Nothing to kasi personally, as a player, what was the most
Yeah, the closest one that you can ano.
We don't play in Starbucks kasi like not the AL group, at least in Davao, we don't do that. Other DMs, they play in small businesses, mga small coffee shops and stuff like that na medyo konti lang yung tao. The biggest venue I think that I played in was in a Korean coffee shop, which is a huge place kasi para mataas yung ceiling, wide yung tables, yung spacing medyo mahaba. So that's my favorite go-to place. It's called Cafe 52 in Davao. They serve okay-ish coffee, they serve okay-ish food, but essentially I'm just there for like the meeting and stuff because it's not loud at all. I've seen players go to Starbucks. I've seen players go to like McDonald's, and I think the most in terms of like people was a local coffee shop dito sa Davao that are sort of like very parang Starbucks-ish, no, na maraming tao. But in terms of like having the opportunity of playing, tapos you have other people like look at what the fuck are they doing? That guy is talking foul British language.
Why is he using different accents? I guess actually I'd like to shout out to those people because they have like this kind, alam mo yun, parang they can do that na in public, right? And mostly because their focus is laser as in laser focus sila on the situation. Like kung ako yun, para I'd be distracted by, well, other than the looks of other people, parang the background noise, like if it's a cafe noise, parang, di ba? Tapos parang, we're in combat, but there's really relaxing jazz music in the background. So parang,
yan lang din yung mahirap yan. Yan lang din yung mahirap kasi kasi medyo it's not so it works parang it also works the other way around. Parang if you have a DM that brings background music to a place that already has house music, it's hard. So ako I don't use music if I play in if I play in public. Nakakatawa yung sa Korean store kasi they play Korean music. So parang I describe that with the scene, no? You enter a tavern and strangely enough, they're playing K-pop music. So parang K-pop music na yan. So parang it just adds to the experience. Tapos I usually the taverns that I describe, no, are the venues that we use. So parang if it's an old if it's a small establishment, then I describe it as a small establishment where they sell sell cakes and coffee and stuff like that, or
soju.
Or Korean man lang, they play Korean music. It's strange to you. It's foreign to you.
A group of bardic dancers start growing to a certain tune.
You strangely develop this urge to be, and you fight your urge to be maniakis.
You start buying their merch.
You see a pink hammer attached to a black black handle.
I'm sorry, I don't know this reference. I don't know K-pop very much. I mean, parang, I guess yun lang. Parang I feel like one thing that adds into the immersion, since we're talking about coffee shops, and I think you mentioned this, is the place mismo where we play. So parang that's one and yun nga, parang someday when okay na mag-travel, I think okay na naman pero I'm not sure. Parang I'd like to go to good food and actually experience that authentic Critical Role experience of diba, of just being able to roll IRL and stuff, because I missed that epic that I was supposed to be in but something came up. And yun, parang I'd like to experience that then. I feel like in terms of immersion, that would really
yeah,
like if I'm already immersed online, diba, parang lalo na IRL.
Like there are other like venues also I'm pretty sure in Manila that are more more leaning towards that kind of experience. I saw a few like people posting about and like venues where you can play on IRL. They provide that like experience for you, or maybe like other ideas that we've had over the years, not to be able to create that kind of like D&D experience, like the finale of our Baldur's Gate. Let's do it. Airbnb tayo.
Airbnb.
So so I was willing to do that now at the time, but things happen. But
pandemic sucks.
But having that immersion and having that room extends the game and allows for really authentic experiences, authentic reactions, better engaged players. That's what I really
focused ones.
And it's much easier for you to manage than, like, for example, if you notice that like we are all different in ways na parang nag-enjoy yung isa sa isa, tapos yung isa parang they don't really enjoy RP that much, they just enjoy combat, so
tatrabaho.
So it's easy for me to like bring the role play up a notch because I like to do that, especially if I'm comfortable. Medyo intense yung role play nang nangyayari sa tables ko sometimes. That's something that I can't really do online, which is parang see the inflections of my voice or really establish eye contact and really looking a player dead in the eye. Parang ganun. Those are things that we can't really do online.
It's an interactive theater experience, di ba? So parang you're presenting to us and we experience it firsthand. So yung mga eye to eye dead shot looks, di ba? Yung pag-address ng mga tao, that's something that I'd like to experience because I haven't really experienced that na IRL, of course, na online. So alam mo yun, there's that.
And it helps also, like D&D is absolutely great for managing and building up your confidence and comfort in terms of like social interaction. It's great to be able to do, or at least experiment, in a safe environment, because it is a safe environment. Like if you're in my table, it would be to try different things to express yourself in a way that you haven't, IRL, or if you just want to have a judgment-free space na parang you bring whoever it is that you want to bring and play whoever it is that you want to play. Na parang it's always that kind of environment that produces and kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Cultivates creativity, which I feel like what D&D is centered around.
Definitely. Yeah. What other factors? Yeah, I think that pretty much covers what we think would really immerse people into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Really, we talk more about the people. I think kasi we covered at least 3 out of those 4 elements based on we can talk about the people on another time. And I think we've been discussing them or discussing it in detail. Hindi naman in detail. We've been partially discussing them in some of the past short rest episodes, right? So syempre, iba-ibang tao, iba-ibang gusto or requirements, iba-iba yung needs nila when it comes to the game, because there are many different kinds of people and we have to accept them as it is, and it's our job as dungeon masters, I suppose, to make sure that every one of these players are as immersed as possible. Right? So I think that one really good solution to that is to just get to know them. Right? Okay, you're into combat, you're into role play, you're into just make sure that, in my opinion, I think it's really just being able to deliver all those that they want in as much as you can, right? Pero it's I can't appease everyone in terms of like what should I do to get your attention, diba? Parang anyway, yun lang naman yung ko for that particular element. So just your players being immersed or being and the other people in the or the group as a whole. Anyway.
Yeah, and like as a final tip lang siguro as we're wrapping up, no, as a final tip for players, no, if you have a game, make it intentional, you know, that you're playing this game, that you are locked into this game. Be parang treat it as if treat it with importance, no? Parang some of us kasi parang have this attitude, nah, it's just a game. But it's not. It is a shared experience na parang in a way that what you contribute to the game affects the integrity of the game, lalo na sa enjoyment. So like as much as possible, I know things would be difficult for things to manage, you know, life is difficult to manage sometimes, but if you have a game, make sure na you're ready for it, that your environment is ready for it, that you are in a space that is conducive to creativity and to like a shared experience like that. It doesn't hurt to treat it with a little bit more reverence, kumbaga.
Yeah.
Parang to be ready for a game, no. A G check should compromise that, na parang ready na yung environment mo, ready ka na, ready yung tools mo, and also that you're doing everything that you can to make your D&D experience as, you know, as fun as possible.
Yeah.
So ganun lang talaga, like if that includes like investing in microphones or investing in headsets and stuff like that, it would only improve not only your D&D life but also your computer life because you have great headsets. Okay.
Yeah.
Ito, like getting I always check with my players kung okay lang yung levels, okay lang yung mic and stuff like that. So it's something that I always check and make sure that are okay. So,
yeah.
Saka,
I mean, you're not only, I guess, in a way, you're not only playing for yourself, question mark, you're playing for the entire group, right? Like, if your audio, sucks or something, we couldn't hear you, the DM couldn't hear you. How could we arbitrate the rules of the world if there's a little bit of an audio problem, di ba? Yeah. Or parang...
Yeah, and it breaks immersion a lot.
Yeah, yun din. It breaks immersion. So parang maybe you can syempre, 'di ba? We D&D is a way to turn off the real world and delve into this other world where you can be a little more free, you can be someone else, 'di ba? You'd like it to be as immersive as possible. Kasi after this game is done, you go back to the real world. You can't you don't necessarily have bardic inspiration diet to help you get out of it or to help you succeed in things, pero alam mo yun,
yeah,
you'd like to really, you have to be in the moment, kumbaga.
Yeah, and if you can afford dice, you can afford microphones, like they're cheap.
Yeah.
AF right now, no. Good headsets that are great investments, not only for your gaming but also your like Zoom meetings and stuff. I have multiple headsets here that work great. I have a Jabra headset that I use when I play, or sometimes when I run AL games where I need to move a lot and I don't need to like use this and I want to use my face as a prop.
So
I use my headset. I got this webcam that would enhance my facial expressions, I'm hoping. And also like getting stuff that would help you help your life, fix your life. Those are things that are worthy investments, more than worthy investments, that would allow you to have a better experience, not only in D&D but also like having a second monitor would enhance not only your D&D experience, your dungeon mastering, but also your streaming, or like your work, double the productivity in half of the time. You'll also save.
I don't know if that's okay.
You also save your keyboard from all those alt tabbing that you've been doing. So parang,
the alt. Yeah, that's true.
So I love having second monitors. I've been using second monitors for years now.
I guess as a final note from me na lang. Ang dami nating final note and final tip. Pero for me na lang. Parang I know that this is just a video game. Sorry. I know that this is just a game. Right? So parang some people will comment na parang ano bang nakuha mo diyan? Ba't kailangan mong why do you have to take 4 hours off of your day to do something as silly as act out characters and shit, diba? So parang I'm not sure that might affect yung behavior ng tao. Why this is just a game, I can use my phone siguro to just describe my actions, etc. Ayun nga, like I mentioned, this isn't not only playing your game. This isn't a video game na ikaw lang yung affected. There are also other people in it. Ayun na nga, it's I guess this is a way of me emphasizing it lang. This is your escape from the real world. So you'd like to make it as immersive as possible. So basically, it's really just your call na to take action on how you can make it as immersive. So listen to the DM, listen to the players, act out your characters if you can, right? Or observe, make perception checks, whatever. Ayun, parang just really consider. Yeah, you're right, Fonzi. Just give it respect. Respect the world. Respect the game.
Yeah. Para ka nagba-basketball, alam mo 'yun? Nagba-basketball kayo, manggago ka pa. Alam mo 'yun? Makinig, hindi ka ba makinig? We'll just walk around the court as if not giving a fuck and only pay attention once you have the ball kasi that doesn't work like that. Parang you wouldn't be fun to play with. Parang ganun lang din. Like with all sports, na I'm not saying that D&D is a sport, but it's an interactive game, which is like what sports are. No?
Yeah, you don't play the game only when you have the ball, and you do your you do your best to keep the ball with you.
You play defense. You make rotations, you guard your man. Daming mga with the game. But yeah, we digress. But we hope that you are just at the end of the day, it's just about making sure that you're having the best time possible with the resources that you have, which is something that would be felt in the table that you're in, regardless of what kind of tools that you have, what machines you have, or what instruments that you may have to improve your game. It's just about improving and also improving your state. So yeah. So before we wrap up, where can they find you, Carlo?
Oh yeah, well, if you're watching this in YouTube, you just hit the tiny subscribe button back there, and also the bell button so you get notified for more short rest episodes. I can be found in YouTube. Just search for Carlo Geeks Out. I'm also in Facebook and in Instagram, Carlo Geeks Out. Just do a quick search of those usernames. I'm also on Twitch, also Carlo Geeks Out. I will start I'll start streaming shit as I'll just get a second monitor as per Fonzi's recommendation.
If you get one, I will play Rainbow Six with you.
Oh, fuck you, why not? Okay, fine, I'm doing it. I'm buying one this Christmas, sakto. Ayan. And
ipa-subsidize mo na yan kay Ben.
Yeah, I'll probably have that happen.
Kahit discount lang, parang Ben, can you take care of 20% of this? Take care of that other 80%. Would add
this is for our streaming and shit. And also I'll also promote si Tabletop Titos. We've been very active lately in terms of live streaming, and shout out to the people who have liked and are actually engaging and watching our videos. Like, it's not only us that are watching our videos na may mga may ibang tao na from the D&D groups that have been watching, and I feel great and happy about that. So Tabletop Titos in YouTube as well, and Facebook. Just do a quick search, we'll be there. Yeah. And yeah, how about you, Fonzi? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter at FonziToot, FONZITOOT. You can also follow, if you're into leadership podcasts, look for Activate Leadership on all podcasting platforms. Also, you can find us like on Tabletop Titos. I'm looking to actually stream something this week on like how you can prep your own homebrew experience and what my step-by-step preparation would look like in preparing for like a tier 1 to tier 2 campaign. So I'll be doing like an hour stream maybe to showcase like what I do and what I would do for preparing for a game or for a campaign from start to finish. So yun yung gagawin ko.
Tier 1 and Tier 2 where the training wheels are still on, the fluffy boxing gloves are still on.
Yeah, and as we're preparing for the ultimate episode next week, parang the Battle of the Bastards siya sa GOT.
Yeah.
So we're hoping I'm hoping that we can finish that, and hopefully it would be as awesome a game as it would be as expected, because I'm taking a lot of time to prep for that.
All right, are we done with our short rest? Should we continue on and into the real world? I haven't done outros like that in a while, bro.
Yeah, it's always been okay, we're done, bye. Yeah, we're done. We rolled our hit dice, some spell slots, arcane recovery and have been recovered, and we're ready to venture forth. Heidi ho.
See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
A short rest with Fonzi and Carlo.